Hi there. Now we're going to do lesson 223. God is my life. I have no life but His. Paragraph 1. I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God, a separate entity that moved in isolation, unattached and housed within a body. Now I know my life is God's. I have no other home, and I do not exist apart from Him. He has no thoughts that are not part of me, and I have none but those which are of Him. This is a very, very powerful statement. We're making a declaration of our oneness with God here. We are saying that we live that we cannot be anything other than what God is being, that we are inside of God, that God is inside of us, that there is a oneness, a connection that could never cause for separation. It's impossible for there to be separation. And that He has no thoughts that are not part of us, because God is thinking us. We are in the mind of God. We are thoughts in the mind of God. God is imagining us, willing us, loving us, wishing us, and when we can hear what God wants for us, we allow ourselves to be in alignment with God. I and the Father are one when we align in the awareness that we exist because God is thinking us. And when we allow ourselves to be receptive to being imagined by God, desired by God, wanted by God, now the only thing we would want to do, if we're sane, is to want to align with what does God want with us, for us, through us. Then we come into co-creation, because the inspiration, the desire to sing, the desire to dance, the desire to write a book, the desire to go help somebody, all of that moves us because God is wanting to experience that through us. Now we become a willing participant. And now the thinker, God, and the one thought, us, operate in tandem, in alignment. We are totally, completely one. That's where the miracles, the magic, the amazingness can happen, because now there's no resistance. There's nothing separating. There's nothing preventing. There's nothing keeping apart. There's nothing activating anything other than the alignment with the energy of creation that is moving, that is extending, and we go with it. When we flow with it, the lack of resistance means that there's no fear, there's no judgment, there's no pain, there's no suffering. So as each one of us gets into that alignment, we become an example for how others can do that too. So now let's look at paragraph 2, which is the prayer. Our Father, let us see the face of Christ instead of our mistakes. For we who are your holy Son are sinless. We would look upon our sinlessness, for guilt proclaims that we are not your Son, and we would not forget you longer. We are lonely here and long for heaven, where we are at home. Today we would return. Our name is yours, and we acknowledge that we are your Son. This is a statement that Jesus is giving us to say that acknowledges the truth that needs to be made. We want to see the face of Christ in everyone. We don't want to see the mistakes that we've been making by ourselves when we think without God, because everything that we think without God is a cover to what God has created. It is a veil, it's a separation, it's a division, it's a block, whatever you want to call it. It's what keeps us from seeing what is actually true, that is there based on what God created. And it's an acknowledgement of our sinlessness and our brother's sinlessness, because when you look for Christ in everything that you see, you're seeing with the eyes of Christ that are in you. I hope you're enjoying this prayer. Please take time to sit with it, to feel it, to experience it, and let these words permeate every cell of your beingness. Because when you allow these words to be your truth, and you have to make a decision, this is where you make the invitation. Yes, I take this as my truth. And when I receive this as my truth, I will feel the truth of these words. I will realize these truths in my life. I will make them real in my life with my receiving of them. So sit with reverence and let these words be the truth that you want to live your life from. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you in the next lesson.